everyone. Welcome back to Hot Seats with Grayson and Steven. Next up, for our final debate of the night, we're going to discuss whether or not the Warriors' short dynasty is over with. Steven, I know you're a Warriors fan.
I am.
So, to see them off on this horrible start, how do you feel?
First of all, I don't think that you can call 17-9 horrible. I think that it's certainly not up to the Warriors standards that we're accustomed to seeing, but any other team that's 17-9 is having a great year.
I agree.
So I agree that definitely they have not been on the level that we're used to seeing.
Okay.
Now here's my counter for that argument. I think that there's no way possible you could say it's over by the first 26 games of the season. I think that one, Steph Curry has missed 17 of those, I believe, or 15 of those, with groin injury. Draymond Green has missed 6 or 7 with a toe injury. Draymond and KD had their little spat that led to some tension, so there was a couple losses there probably. But I think now that Steph Curry and Draymond are back in the lineup, the last 2 games they've been in, and they've beaten their opponents by 23 and 27, I believe.
That is my biggest point on why the dynasty of those Golden State Warriors might be ending. Basketball dynasties, everyone knows, ends because of egos. Football dynasties end because of free agency and injuries. Basketball dynasties end because of egos. And I think those heads are getting a little bit too big in Golden State. First of all, KD has never been the type to be such a great teammate. Look what he did with OKC. And now he's coming here and same problems. Draymond Green is another loudmouth. So one of those guys are going to have to go. Of course, Draymond does not add as much as KD does. But at what point does Steph step up too and argue with KD? Because I feel like KD thinks this is his team. And to me, it's Steph's team. I think Steph Curry means more to the Warriors than Kevin Durant does.
I agree, and I always argued the last couple of years that maybe KD was slowly becoming one of the best players in the NBA. And I still think that he is. I think he's definitely a top 10, arguably a top 5 player in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
However, with what Steph Curry brings to the table, he can hit a shot from anywhere on the floor.
And that's just a game changer.
He's also, and what's not mentioned is his handles and the way he can move around and get open without the ball, movement without the ball. He's insanely good at all that. So I don't think that shooting's his only thing, which you can take away shooting, but he creates his own shots. He can get open by his own dribble. I think that Steph Curry has slowly become the second best player in the NBA today behind LeBron James.
I disagree. I think that spot goes to Anthony Davis.
I think
Anthony Davis is certainly.
I agree with that.
However, I think Steph Curry and Anthony Davis are. I think that Anthony Davis last year was better, but I think that Steph Curry, is slowly coming in. He dropped 42 last night.
But then you got to think.
It was like 9 of 10.
You just said Curry missed 15 games this season.
He did, but
he's played less games than he's been out. So you can't say he's been any better than Anthony Davis.
Okay, so
yeah, I take back that statement.
okay, so Alex, you say that you think the dynasty is coming to an end.
Well, this is my thing. Coming to an end? What means this is coming to an end? Is it if they don't make playoffs, are they coming to an end because they're making playoffs?
They're going to make the playoffs. I think coming to an end is not making the finals. Because if they don't make the finals, then that means teams...
They're not making the finals.
They're not making... I agree. I was just about to say it. They're not making the finals.
They're not.
Against the Lakers.
I think they have a chance. They might not. The Clippers are ridiculous.
The Clippers are third in the West.
The Clippers are looking good.
But I'm going to tell you a team that no one is thinking about.
From the East. Or are you talking about the West?
I'm talking about the West right now.
The
East is the Raptors. The Raptors.
That's what I was talking about.
The Raptors are winning the East.
The Raptors are winning the East.
With East.
The East is no more LeBron deal, so it's up for grabs.
The only team, there's 2 teams that can compete with the Raptors right now. It's the Celtics and the Sixers. Do you agree with that?
I don't think the Celtics.
I think the 76ers are dominant. I think they are money, and I would love for them to do good. But I don't think they can beat the.
I think the Bucks and the 76ers.
The Bucks are slowly becoming one of the better teams in the NBA.
The Bucks are dangerous. The Bucks are dangerous.
They have another candidate for number 2 player in the NBA.
Giannis. He is insane. But on the West, the Nuggets.
I agree.
The Nuggets.
I haven't seen any of them this year.
The Nuggets lead the West.
Do they really?
17-7.
Let's not sleep on the Dallas Mavericks. Doncic is a freak.
He was a steal at number 5 in the.
He should have been number 1 overall, and it shouldn't be close.
Wasn't he the one traded for Trae Young?
He was traded for Trae Young. He was traded for Trae Young, and now
this is the reason the Hawks are bad. This is your fault.
But I'm going to go ahead and say this: Atlanta, do not draft Zion Williamson.
Draft Zion Williamson. Forget that.
Dude, I don't want him to because I want to see Zion Williamson blossom. I don't want to see him go.
I want to see. Yeah,
never mind. Draft RJ Barrett.
Yeah. I'm gonna say RJ Barrett.
I think RJ Barrett.
RJ Barrett is the, not to get off subject, but RJ Barrett is the best overall basketball player in college basketball.
Zion Williamson is way more fun to watch.
Zion Williamson is more fun and he's more dominant.
Yeah,
but the better basketball player.
I think RJ Barrett means more to a team, especially if you have already pieces. Now, Zion Williamson might be better if he's the only player on a team because, of course, he's dominant.
RJ Barrett's a better all-around passer. He can shoot. He can get to the lane and score.
I think in the long run, RJ Barrett and Zion Williamson are going 1 and 2.
RJ Barrett reminds me a lot of Kyrie Irving.
My thing is, I think that Zion Williamson has a higher ceiling. So Zion Williamson could become
the next LeBron James.
He could become LeBron James-esque. Whereas I think the ceiling for RJ Barrett is still high, but it's more like a Kyrie. So it's a really great player, but not anyone that's
the ceiling is higher for Zion because of his athletic freakiness.
Right. But
he's 6'8". He 6'9", 290.
That's ridiculous.
And he has like
bigger than Gronk.
He has like a 40-something inch vertical.
That is scary.
He's one of the nastiest dunkers.
Could you imagine, viewers at home, could you imagine sitting in the paint and seeing that man coming at you and about to dominate you? He's about to make you look funny. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if Shaq is watching this right now. You get dunked on by Zion Williamson, Shaquille O'Neal.
All right, back on subject. The Warriors dynasty. I don't think that they're making the finals.
Okay, if the definition of dynasty over is not making the finals, then I agree. The dynasty's over because I don't think they're making the finals.
But I think it's not necessarily our. I don't think that's necessarily our. Definition of dynasty. I think that's always been for basketball with the Lakers. The reason they had their dynasty was their rings.
Yeah, dynasties make it to the finals.
The Celtics were their rings. The Bulls, it was their rings.
I'm thinking that you can be a dynasty even if you miss 1 year and come back. You're still a dynasty. You're still a freak. You're still a great team that ruled the league for years and years and years. Just because
you missed 1 year and came to the Western Conference Final.
Yeah, you're still a dynasty in my opinion.
Like the Patriots missing the Super Bowl every now and then. But they're a dynasty.
But if we're saying that a dynasty is the Warriors missing the playoffs, get them out of here. Warriors missing the playoffs. First of all, I'm not missing playoffs. Missing the finals. They're definitely making playoffs, and they're going to make playoffs for years to come. They're always going to be a good team for the near future until Steph Curry retires or goes to another team. But finals, get them out of here. Golden State Warriors are not making the finals this year.
Wow.
Write it down.
I agree.
Write it down.
That's where I disagree. I think they make the finals, and I think they win it.
The biggest argument against LeBron James is he can't play in the finals. Guess what he can play in?
The Western Conference Finals.
Right. So
he's never played in the Western Conference. He's played in
the conference finals.
This is the thing. If he went to Los Angeles, if the Warriors stick together, there's a chance that LeBron doesn't make it to a finals in the near future.
I think LeBron.
First of all,
and the Lakers have a chance, but I don't even think they're the main people knocking on Golden State's door.
I think first of all, it hasn't been the Cavs and the Warriors that everybody's worried about. It's been the Warriors and LeBron. So I think that now LeBron is on a much better team. I think that this Lakers team is way better.
I agree.
Than the Cavs were last year.
100%.
He
However,
went out and got the players that he wanted.
unfortunately for LeBron, the Western Conference is
Loaded.
because right now, like I said, you have 3 to 4 teams in the East.
If the Lakers
and
are playing in the Eastern Conference right now, they're a favorite.
it's them and the Raptors. It's
And the 76ers and Celtics fall behind.
and the Bucks.
And the Bucks.
But I think that because this Lakers team, they started off with that rough start, that rocky start, but they've really started to pick things up. They've really started to play as a team more. They started to win some ball games. They just beat the Spurs last night, a team who's beat them twice already this year. And LeBron dropped, I want to say like 46, maybe 48, something like that.
If I may.
25 in the first.
If I may. The Golden State Warriors are a great team, and they've been a great team, but they're not as good as they've been.
No,
and because of the ego. And I think that is why this NBA season has been the most exciting to watch in forever. Could you agree? I mean, realistically, there's like 8 teams that have a chance of being in that the finals. And
This is fun.
And that's normally not the case. Normally it's Golden State and LeBron. Yeah, Golden State and whoever LeBron's on. That's normally what it's been. And this year, Golden State might get overthrown.
And honestly,
LeBron might not make it. He's in the West now.
And honestly, LeBron got lucky that he made it last year because
The Celtics
should have been in it. The Gordon Hayward, if Gordon Hayward is back playing, the Celtics move.
One last thing before we end this. I think that y'all have said that there are teams that have a chance to overthrow the Warriors this year. One thing that we're not looking at is who the Warriors have on the bench available to come back in about a month. DeMarcus Cousins.
That is a good point.
That is a good point.
He's going to change their team.
They've never had that center, that 5-man that can just play. They've had Zaza Pachulia
But
the last couple of years.
I'm just going to
And
say,
they just put arguably a top 3 center in the league.
I think DeMarcus Cousins is overrated. I think when he goes to teams, sure, he's a great player, but really does he help them out a great impact as far as wins go?
You got 5 All-Stars on the court.
Well, I agree. He's a great player.
It's an All-Star team.
But there's not much room to grow for the Warriors. They're already the best team in the league. If they're losing because of ego, that's not going to change by adding bigger egos in the locker room.
I think another big thing with this season that a lot of people really haven't talked about much is this last year's draft class has done fairly well. We talked about Trae Young and he's not winning
Who
basketball.
went number 1?
Number 1 was DeAndre Ayton to the Suns.
He's played pretty well.
He's played well. You got Colin Sexton. He's played really well. He's played well for the Cavs.
He's played well. He's the only one playing well on that team.
I saw something, and his numbers are matching up to Jason Tatum. Jason
Tatum was a rookie of the year candidate.
His numbers are matching up to Jason Tatum's last year, and that's a big deal.
The Cavs,
and he's doing that with nobody around.
Yeah, right? and the Cavs are probably going to be a top 3 pick in the draft.
They're a lottery team.
They should draft one of the 3 Duke boys.
Yes, exactly. Have Colin Sexton right there, and then
either Zion, RJ, or Cam Reddish.
I think for that team, you pick Zion. Because he is the closest thing to LeBron. And if you can get another LeBron, you're back in there.
And on top of that, the city of Cleveland would fall in love with Zion Williamson.
If I'm the city of Cleveland, I'm hoping Cleveland loses so we can get Zion Williamson.
Exactly.
You're done at this point. So you need to take it.
The football team, they got their Baker Mayfield. The Indians have been fine. The Indians have been winning. The Indians have been fine. Now LeBron leaves. You got to get your players. So back to the subject. We've gotten on subject a lot on this one because there's so many different aspects that you can go at it. But the Warriors, they have gotten off to a rocky start. First 26 games of the year. There's 82 games in a season. There's still a lot of basketball left this season to play. Whether or not they get to the finals, we'll have to wait and see on that. Some of us think they will, some of us think they won't. Now it's just the waiting game.